it's wired into us, right? It's like has to do with evolution and all that stuff. But I think we see it in the fitness world a lot. People jumping from trend to trend. Okay, now I'm this. Hashtag trend to trend. Yeah, trend to trend.
Ash to ashes.
That's all I heard.
Trend to trend.
Ashes,
wait, what's happening?
It's a new pre-workout prayer we're coming up with. Hey everybody, welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding 2024, first episode of the new year. Welcome to the show. Remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
Dusty Hanshaw with the drums. Scott McNally, the producer. Thanks for being here, guys. Remember, IamMutant.com, supporting the show. Born Hardcore, IamMutant.com. Go to IamMutant.com. Get your ISO Surge, get your all in, and everyone should get on the gear. Use Dusty20, Big Ron 20 to save yourself 20%. And remember the Think Big Patreon. Keep a producer homed. Scott doing a lot of work with all the shows on this channel, and all those YouTube shorts and Instagram reels and everything that's flying. It's going well. So thanks for all that. I love it, and I love that we're stepping everything up with the t-shirts now. I'm looking forward to getting mine. Are we functional on the shirts, Scott? What's going on?
Things are going good. We've sold a bunch of them now at this point.
No everybody yet?
We're getting there. You guys will know when I have the grill. That's okay. When we'll have officially made it.
We'll keep knocking for our share when the grill is visible on the show. We'll be like, we got to go to Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need my $17.
So it's cool though. Everybody's given us really good feedback so far. Everybody who's gotten the shirts has said, "Oh my God, these are great!" Because the thing is,
best t-shirts ever is what I believe they were saying. Like they're better than any other t-shirt they've ever had.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but that is very nice.
Oh, that's what I heard. Just saying.
Okay, all right. But yeah, it's good to hear that because there's nothing like spending your hard-earned money on a shirt and then not liking it, not wanting to wear it. So these are good. I put my seal of approval on them, which I'm pretty picky when it comes to shirts. So
they got to be just right around the guns, just right around the waist. I know exactly what you mean. There's a good shirt, and then there's a really good shirt.
Yes,
we all know that. Hey, remember Dusty, like our friend Mike at Iron Asylum uses the good shirts.
Yeah, but I like to also determine on each individual shirt what it's for. Like, because you got a good leg day shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, there are shirts. If anyone were to pay attention to my vast clothing line when I go to the gym, you're pretty much going to realize I wear 3 shirts on Sunday.
Okay.
2 shirts on Monday. I mean, it's just the way it is. I've recently, you start discovering. I tried to cut a boat neck the other day.
Did you really?
Didn't work.
I just wanted to see, but I got the angle wrong. And then I started trying to get it lower. It was a disaster. I needed you wrong.
So here's how I see Dusty dressing. He's one of 3 different workout shirts. I've seen Dusty in the gym with a hoodie on.
I've seen that look.
I've seen Dusty in the gym with a giant t-shirt that's like a leg day shirt.
Yep.
Right. Favorite. And then Dusty wears the Dusty cut shirt.
Yep, there's that.
And there's 2 versions of the Dusty cut shirt. I'm not sure if it's body part specific or it depends on how fat he feels. But he sometimes has a tank top under the Dusty cut.
That's fat.
Like a tight wife beater. That's a fat day?
Fat.
Is that
fat?
I didn't know if it was like a certain body part.
It's not like a day. This is when you're in a fat. Okay, it's the majority of my life.
Okay. Every day.
Yeah. There's just, what's great? And this happened today. I was trying to show Nikki where to stand in a mirror so that I could get a better angle for a video. Because we're trying to actually get better Instagram content.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I show her and I kind of so I go up and I'm like, you stand right there, get this angle. So she gets it, right? And then she shows it to me and I go, oh, fuck. And she goes, I didn't do it right. I go, no, I'm just fat. I was just mad at myself. You're right where you need to be.
Just having a crisis.
You just realized I'm still fat and I really didn't know.
I lost 10 pounds. So I thought I was getting leaner.
Yeah, you have that moment and you're like, oh, no. And so that was that situation. And today I was without the undershirt.
So you just had the big cut shirt on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, to anyone else, I'm sure it's fine. But I just laughed because I don't know how you guys carry your fat, but my back is where the majority of my fat is. So like you can't really see much detail. It's just meh, you know? And I'm like,
It's a big wall.
I didn't realize it was quite that soft still. That's the front lies to me. I got veins coming up my abs. I got veins all in my legs. I'm like, I'm in pretty good. No.
Like 8 weeks out. No. Then you see yourself from the back.
You send Chris a back double and he's like, I'm not helping you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to work. So that was my moment. But the good news is when she did it, I was like, wow, she's where she's supposed to be at 14 weeks out. I am behind.
Nice.
Yeah, she's coming along. The quads are like showing up now to the party, like big time.
Ooh,
they're like, oh, hello.
Yeah. Yeah, she did this. Ron's got this secret diet technique. Sorry for blowing up your business, but where you stop losing weight and just get leaner. Where she's in that phase now. Like I asked her the other day when she took her pictures. I'm like, "Where's your weight at?" And she goes, "Oh, same as last week." And I'm watching as we're filming the video, and I'm like, "You're not the same as last week."
Yeah, pretty big difference.
You're blatantly leaner. So I don't know what he does. I don't look, but. Anybody who wants to get ready for a show while gaining muscle and getting leaner, call Ron. Hey, I'm just making you money.
You're leaving out the genetic component, which I have nothing to do with, and that Nikki's just a freak, just sitting waiting to just like come out of the cocoon and do another show. That's what we're dealing with here. It really has nothing to do with me or the chicken and rice diet that I've got her on. Which is
I definitely realize that though when you forget that someone hasn't competed in forever, and like when we first got together, like she was barely like she went to the gym, but she wasn't training.
Yeah,
working out.
Yeah.
You know, so as you're seeing more and more muscle, I'm like, I don't know why she's stronger. I'm like, I got 315 on deads for 15. I'm like, well, could have been that. Could have been that.
Yeah, could have been that. Could have been that.
But it's probably.
I realized too. She's extra tough too. I mean, she's got 2 kids. She lives with you. There's a lot of discipline and patience and a lot of that stuff. So yeah, we're excited. We're excited for all the shows coming up.
Yes. One in particular.
Yeah. 2024 Arnold looks like, I mean, the next big thing. There's no other pro shows before that, is there? There's no like a smaller show anywhere that we're
just the Iron Man. Oh wait, that was 99. Sorry.
Yeah, they're good old days. You mean the Flex Pro? Oh no, wait. You mean the Yeah. Okay, so this is what we got for the Arnold so far. Now, how much bigger is this lineup going to get? Are they adding many more people?
I don't think they'll add any.
Yeah, I mean,
Arnold has really like streamlined it lately.
Yeah. Okay, so who in this is? First of all, Hottie's there. So you've got a Mr. Olympia at the Arnold, which is always exciting because it doesn't happen a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like Dexter hopping in the Arnold. Like, you know what I mean? There'd be like, oh, it's a Mr. Olympia. So you just got to put him at the top of the chain and say, this is like technically the guy to beat.
Yeah, for sure. So you've got Hottie, Samson, and Andrew, which to me, that is your top 3 in order, assuming everyone is
right.
Rolling
just by default.
Right through. Yeah.
Right. The same way we kind of predicted the Olympia. We kind of went, well, technically these guys all beat these guys this year, so it should land like this, right?
Yeah. Which is a safe bet.
I mean, okay, so we had Samson, we had Andrew Jacked last year, right? Going against each other. But and then we had Nick Walker. So Nick Walker was kind of like the odd man out. Now we have Hottie and Samson and Andrew Jacked. I wonder how Hottie is going to change the perception of the lineup. Do you know what I mean? Not just how is he going to affect it, but how is he going to affect how the judges see what the best is on stage that day?
Well, I think he's going to be the conditioning standard as he normally is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's poured concrete right there.
It's I mean, even last year when they sort of said that everyone was a little off at the O, Hottie was still like, I still thought Hottie was, kind of overall kind of maybe the best conditioned of that group. I mean, Derek had, the better glutes and with the better, a little more detail in the back, but then Hadi's pecs are crazy and all that stuff. So it was close. But I mean, I think that when Hadi stands on that stage, they're gonna have to put him front and center to start with. And obviously, like, we've all seen guys where we're not quite sure what version of them is going to show up, But
yeah, that's not him.
Hadi, we kind of know it's going to be like hardcore as possible, and it's going to be crazy thick and shredded, and I mean, him and Hadi don't miss. So I expect Hadi to be pretty tough to beat here. The factors that you have to consider are the trajectory that Samson has been on for the last, I guess, 2 years, and also Andrew Jacked. I mean, so young for his bodybuilding age is so young that it's frightening to think that he's possibly still figuring things out a little.
Right.
Is that even, is that, that's mind boggling to be at that level and still sort of like a little bit unsure what we're going to see. It could be like, oh geez.
Like he still has yet to hit his best front double bicep, in my opinion. Like he hasn't figured out how to hit that pose yet.
Like there's these little things where you're like, there's room for scary improvement,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty hard top three. I mean, size wise, frame wise, I mean, obviously Samson and Andrew would be the biggest guys in the show. They're both really, really, really big. They're not 5'9" and big. Yeah, they're like Andrew Jacked. I got in the elevator with him last year, and I mean, I'm a big dude. I'm 6'1" maybe, and wide. And I just thought this guy's. He's it made me feel like I'm probably only an inch shorter than him, but just so huge. I was like, oh man, this is. And then talking to Samson, you're like, this is a really big guy. Like, this guy's bigger than Dorian was, right? Dorian was 5'10". This guy's 6 foot.
Yeah,
Dorian was 265. This guy's 285. Like, it's like, it's a lot of people just looking at pictures and video, and we're fortunate enough we get to go to these shows and run into these guys and appreciate exactly what's going on like a close up level. So some people say, how could you not mention this guy? How could you not mention that guy? And it's like, well, sometimes you've been around these guys. You're like, nah, this is.
I think what's weird when you're there live. Go ahead.
I gotta bring something up. Remind me. You just triggered something I thought of from the last episode.
Okay, so, good. Okay.
I was gonna say though, one thing that even for me changed at the Olympia was realizing the gap between Hadi and Derek and third place. It was bigger than I realized even coming in. Obviously, we had some fun with our picks, but I mean, overall, everyone kind of really had a pretty good eye of the top three. And Samson had made such enormous changes that I thought that gap was going to be maybe non-existent.
Right.
And it was, I mean, Ron and I, when they were all out there, I was like, oh, this is a 1 and 2 race. Like, third is already decided, but you're not second. It's not possible. And I just don't know, even with the changes they're making, that there's enough time to close that gap, because Hadi won't miss. And if Samson comes in at his best all time, I just don't know about the time. And that's where I always love to know what people's game plan is. Like, does he just want to collect as much cash as he can? How much is he getting when he wins and Fuad has to toss him extra money for his placings? Because there would be something to be said for taking some time. He hasn't taken time in the 2 years he's made his biggest gains. I'm just curious from their camp when they're looking, because I don't feel like Andrew or Samson were going to have the time to close the gap by the Arnold, and then they're not going to have time to close it by the Olympia, because the Olympia is moving up into October again as well. These are short windows that I don't, even for the genetically elite,
right?
That's a short time span.
You're wondering at what point do you run out of off season as a top level guy? And you know what I mean? They're just in this perpetual contest prep situation, which also is a bit of a testament to how freaking hard, they work and how elite they are. The fact that guys are making strides like Samson has while constantly in pretty much diet mode, so it's definitely a different world. These guys are, the elite of the elite, and it's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen. Like, what if Samson shows up 10 pounds bigger and in better condition? It's like, with what off season did you do that?
Yeah.
Like,
that's
what's going on
unless you're you. Okay.
So, but what about, so we got that, we're going to cement that. Are we all agreement that that's sort of a probable top 3?
Absolutely. Yes. I think that's a good call.
Now, who else here? Obviously, we see Hollingshead on the list here. A good friend of ours, good friend of the show, and we're all, I assume, pulling for James to be at his all-time best and looking nuts. So I'm really excited to see that. I know that he's really motivated to be at his best, and it would be great to see him show up and have everybody be like, this is the best James we've ever seen. That's what I always hope for the guys like that that are good friends of the show,
For sure. That's what I'm hoping too.
I feel like there's like when I'm looking at the list now, like the next round of guys gets interesting because Akeem at his best is just freaky.
Yeah, top 10 Olympian.
That can change everything. I have felt like for the longest time, Justin Rodriguez needs to take a break, and he just doesn't. So as much as I love his physique, I at this point, I expect him to come in the way he always does, which is not good enough to fulfill what I think he's capable of.
I think that's a safe bet.
So kind of like a crazy freak that places really well.
Yeah. But I think he's a guy that can, like, he's so good that I think he's a guy that should be pushing up and we should be talking about in the top 5. And I'm not at this point. I just, and I said that because of lack of rest. And he did do I can't remember who he worked with, but he had like some really good results and then he switched coaches. And then he switched coaches again. And I don't know him well. I don't know where that came from or whatever. The guys that get me most excited that are falling through here are, of course, James. But seeing Jonathan De La Rosa come back last year and look awesome again, like, and I we're friends, so I can say this out loud.
You're friends with him.
When he came back, I was like, it's over, dude. You've been gone too long.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he came back, and I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't say that out loud.
Right. That was wrong.
Because I'm a little embarrassed that I said it to myself. I mean, he looked awesome, and I don't know how long he put back into that, but I know it wasn't as long as he's had now, and I'm thinking he's going to beat what he was. Plus, one factor that I like to point out, because I've been on both sides of this, is his personal and professional life are in a good place. And when you have those two things and you're in prep, it is a completely different animal. I would not be stunned to see him like right outside of that top 3. I mean, it could be wild to see him jump up because he's one of the biggest people you will ever see in person. Like, people don't know that. I've done some events with him, and we did one with Jose, Evan, and we're all like dead nuts off season. So we're just as big as can be. And we all look small next to John.
No kidding.
Yeah, he shows up just billowing pillows of muscle everywhere. Yeah.
His forearms are just, it's absurd. So
he's one of the guys that
next
has
generation sees him and goes, oh, who is this?
He's like the guy that retires for 2 years and has 20-inch calves and 20-inch arms. And you know what I mean? Just like permanent.
He's been around
muscle.
for a long time too. I remember him coming up like as a friend of Victor Martinez. We hear about Victor, and then behind him, now we hear about, he's got this buddy, John De La Rosa, who also has that similar kind of crazy looking shape, Dominican looking guy, same kind of crowd of people over there in New York. And it's like, I remember when there was a lot of buzz, and man, that was a long time ago. There have been so many bodybuilders that have come up and retired since that time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And to think that we're talking about him potentially, like, that would be crazy if he were to get into the top 5. Is it possible? Man, I would freaking love to see it.
He's
totally
got
possible.
the physique. He's my sleeper for like people going, oh, I haven't seen that guy for a while, and then he shows up maybe like, what if he walks on stage at his best ever conditioning? Now we're really in trouble.
Yeah.
Because like, sometimes those physiques that are like really balanced and good, and there's no clear dominant body part, and then there's no weak body part.
Yeah.
And then
none.
the person himself, John himself, is like kind of a quiet guy, real nice dude. He's not like ranting and making like viral videos of, so like sometimes people just look at the list and they're like, oh yeah, but I think that's my sleeper for like kind of show up, surprise people. Now, what about Raphael?
I was just going to mention him. I remember seeing him. I think it was at the Arnold the first time that I saw him. And I was just like, holy crap, this guy isn't big, but he's just incredible. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't have any idea where he's going to place, but I can't wait to see him. He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, this is a guy who, sometimes people are like, oh, he's not big enough, but then he'll show up at a pro show and win it and qualify for the O.
Yeah.
Yep. And you're like, oh, well, I guess going to the O again. So like,
I guess he's okay.
Yeah, he's that type of guy. And I know the criticism has been size, like just general mass. Like, I don't know what his body weight is at on stage, but I just don't care about that anymore. I mean, I come from a generation where we watched Dexter make an entire career out of being 225 and win everything. So, I don't really care too much. I just want to see Raphael at his very best because he's insane. So there's also some other exciting guys like Antoine. Antoine's always great. Like Antoine always comes out, pumps a crowd, does probably going to be the best posing routine. You know that. Yeah. And super fun. And I also just, I want to give Antoine a little shout out here because I think he's good for bodybuilding. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys. I'm really happy to see him doing this show. I'm really happy to see him invited to the Arnold. He's one of those guys. He's been through hell and he puts it all out there for everybody. Like I got to tip my hat to those people who just willing to just, put it all to good use, I guess, and maybe try to help others. Absolutely. So I hope that he gets a little bit of that in return with, maybe his best showing ever would be nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Fellow Canadian, got to give him a shout.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's been around for a while too. I remember him doing videos with John Meadows years back, and I remember him like a long time ago. So it's cool to see guys like that who have been around for quite a while.
Yeah, well,
and think of being exciting today. It's not like just like, oh, we're gonna get to see him. He was awesome back in his day. It's like he's still growing. He's making progress. Yeah.
And people try to remember like. I think the first time I saw Antoine compete was 2005.
Okay.
So like he's almost 20 years of competing.
Yeah, that's wild.
Just think about that. All those junior Canadas he won, and then, he banged away at the back of the, kind of near the back of the supers in Canada for a bit, and he figured his stuff out, beat me in 2012, got the pro card, working with Meadows that year. And then he had his trouble. Yeah. And, things went off the rails for a little while. And then he did the big comeback and qualified for the O.
Yeah, that was nuts.
It's like, what?
And he's been super open about addiction, which I think I have a ton of respect for that. Because some guys, they don't want to be public about that stuff. But
did he tear both biceps?
Yeah.
Yep. Tore one bicep, and then I think he tore the other one like a year later or something. Came back from both of those just fine. Like crazy.
And the number one thing he can do, though, as a recovering addict, is to be able to talk about that publicly, because you don't even know how much strength that gives to other people who are in the position where they're like, oh man, I didn't realize that bodybuilders could have these problems too. So I have a ton of respect for him on that level.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to going. Emily's coming to the Arnold this year. Yeah, so she's going to be on the trip. I know Dusty always says, "Why are you bringing your woman on these trips?" But she's coming this time.
Because we're always out whoring around eating steaks alone.
Yeah, with whores.
I at least say that we are, though. Like I like to be like, lie to seem like we're something cool. I tell Nikki, I'm like, well, sorry, we're out with some ladies. She goes, anyways.
Yeah.
I went to a concert. I went to a concert the other night. Went to a show with a friend, and just as the band was coming on stage, I took a picture and I sent it to Emily. I'm like, "Kate, show's starting," and I was making a joke like about going out to the bar because I'm old. So I'm like, "No fights yet," and then she replies, "And no whores." So we got a good woman. No whores. Remember, no whores. I'm like, okay. Thanks for a reminder. Okay. What else we got going on, Scott? You got some good questions for us?
We got a bunch of questions, but you guys are in hot water, first of all, and we need to cover that, okay? So a couple things, Ron. Out the gate, it was not. Let me see if I can find that particular one. I'll come back to it. We'll go to this one first. Neckzilla. So everybody, not everybody, but there were a number of people that were highly disappointed in what you guys had to say. They were like, "You guys, look at him. He's incredible. Look at the physique he has, and he's basically brand new still. How can you not see the potential in this guy?" They listen to what you said, and they think that you're completely writing him off, that he's not anything special, that he has no potential of turning into anything. That's what I think some people got from it.
Well, I saw a couple of those comments, and I think this is part of the podcast thing. You wind up talking about something that you didn't have on the agenda, so you maybe chat sideways about it for 30 seconds. You don't quite go into depth. You're sort of talking in reference to something else that you were talking about, and I get what they mean. I think too, people got to remember, like, yes, he is unbelievably massive with crazy muscles. He could use some balance here and there if you're going to nitpick, but that's what we do. These guys are the best of the best. We nitpick them, that's just the nature of it. But I think that it's also just like, we're a little jaded. We've seen a lot of guys come along that had crazy potential. We've seen guys come up where we're like, man, this guy's mass is nuts if he just gets this in or whatever. And then I think just so many times we just don't really see the guy again.
Yeah.
Like they maybe just never quite get it together, do a couple shows, they move on. And I think that it's just us being a little jaded. Like it takes more than just sort of like, he did a quick appearance, he got his pro card, and then he did the pro show and got second to Samson, right?
Yeah.
And that was kind of it. I'm like, okay, well, let's see how this season goes, right? Let's see how this season goes. And obviously, he could make massive step ups. Like I know he's got Cormier helping him to a degree. Cormier was in his corner the last, like I saw pictures with him anyway. So, Cormier's not a dummy. They're going to do what they can to get him at his very best. He's exciting. I guess maybe I'm just old enough that I don't have a lot of excitement left. You know what I mean? Like I said, I rushed out to buy boron and vanadyl sulfate back in the day. It takes a lot to get me excited about a new supplement, So
I was going to say that I think you kind of nailed it, Ron. It's not that we're not. Obviously he's ridiculous, but I feel like when you're doing podcasts, one of the things that you try not to do is just parrot the obvious. Like, what do you want me to say? He's got big legs. You have eyes. He is a freak. Like he is want obvious. Go to other podcasts. It's just it's one of those things where to me it's like all I'm saying is I want to see how it stacks up over time with other guys. And
repeatedly,
like I love, that's what you just nailed it. I love to see the ones that can last a long, long time. That was my. And again, it's not like, I don't think he can. The only thing I've seen so far from him was awesome.
Yeah.
You were awesome. But, it really does come down to wanting to see over time, because there's a guy where you're looking going, well, what needs to be better? And obviously we know he could bring his upper body to match, but it's like realistically, that's a much taller task than people try to act like it is. Like, do you think that Chris is going to show him how to do a barbell row? Like,
right.
He is already doing all these things, and I'm sure he'll make drastic improvements in those things. So it's not a shot on that. It's just the greatness is obvious. So I don't really feel a reason to comment. If you look back, we didn't start going on about Samson until he did it twice. He blew up for the Olympia, and we're like, oh, cool. Then when he came into the Arnold, it was like, oh, well, like I didn't have Samson winning the Arnold when he won. You're like, it wasn't even in the back of my mind. Then he makes a huge jump again, and you're like, okay, this is absurd. Now now we're leading into the Arnold again this year going, well, Samson could gain 10 more pounds. I mean, which is completely ridiculous to say. But again, like you were saying, Ron, the track record says the trajectory is not slowing down. So that's the only thing I think people missed is because he's impressive as is. And if he never gets better, he's a threat to win any smaller show. So yeah, he is beyond impressive. But it's just, I don't like to just go tossing in. Like, it's very popular in our sport to look for a new winner.
Right.
Oh, that guy's the next Ronnie. No, he's the next him. And I think he's going to put on a hell of a show and have a great career. But there is no next Dexter. There's no next Ronnie. They're just the next guy doing what he does. So it's exciting for sure. I'm also glad to see him not jumping into some crazy show right out the bat. Because we do see a lot of that. Guys just jumping in. I think the guy that won the Arnold Amateur is doing the Arnold this year, and he trains out in Arizona. And I don't know him personally, but I'm like, that water's too deep, dude. It's a bad decision. Like if I was in his corner, I'd be like, don't do this. There's nothing good comes out of this. If you get, third from last, like you're not in that mix yet, so I don't see the point. But again, that's just my opinion of those things. I'd rather be like, go into a smaller show, get the top 3, win, who knows?
Yeah.
But, I just don't know if people who haven't been around the sport really understand when you're there, the difference. I've been to every level show there is. And when you go to the Arnold and you go to the Olympia and the top group comes out, they're all ridiculous.
Yeah. I think one of the things that people need to see in person, kind of one of the experiences that you can't get watching shows online or, being just a massive fan digitally is that, we see guys like Raphael or whoever do a pro show and win it, right? Like, man, that guy killed that show.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And then they stand in like a lineup with the top 5 Olympians. And you're like, what a cavern between like Hadi and Derek and, the top group of guys and the really great guys that kicked everyone's ass at other pro shows.
Yeah.
And when you see it in person, you're like, oh, like, yeah, because, sometimes you look at photos and you're like, how did they pick the top 5? This is a great lineup. But then when you're there in person, you're like, oh, yeah, that's pretty clear. That guy, top 5. Like there's so much more mass on them or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that's one of those things. And people get caught up in that a little bit. But when you're there and you see it in person, it helps you understand bodybuilding better. And that's why I tell everyone, like, if you ever get a chance to go to the Olympia or the Arnold, like, do it. It'll change how you view everything when it comes to like actual bodybuilding contests. That's my experience.
I'd take a step further just because you said that, and we have a lot of this going on in the States. I don't know how you have it. You guys seem to have a better path, Ron, than we do here. But I really feel like more amateurs need to go to nationals, go to the USAs, go as a fan to these shows, because I really, that jump also is freaky. I had been to the USAs like 3 or 4 times before I ever qualified. And when I qualified and someone said, are you doing the USA or the nationals? I laughed because I was like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
And it was because I've sat 5 rows back from these guys and went, I look very good for a regional level bodybuilder. I look terrible for a pro qualifying bodybuilder, Right. So I think that, like you said, Ryan, I completely agree, but just to hit for a lot of our viewers or listeners are absolutely on that path. It's awesome to do because it also gives you a place to pace yourself and watch. And because then when you do look in the mirror and you are ready, you'll know. You're like, I can stand with those guys.
It'll elevate you. I mean, I went and saw the nationals. I saw 2 Canadian nationals before I ever did them. I saw one when I was 15, which like changed my life. And then I saw one the year before I did my first nationals. Like I said, I qualified, could have gone. It was in my hometown. Everyone was telling me, it's only 10 more weeks on the diet. And I'm like, no, it's 10 weeks off season for me. I'll be sitting in the front row watching the show. And I sat there and I watched the heavyweights because there was no supers at the time, showing my age.
1973.
I sat there and I watched the heavyweights, and I was like, I could maybe make the top 5 here. So then I was like, so with another year of hard work, I want to be in this mix and smashing some of these guys. And so that was my goal. But the mindset, like, you know, seeing it from whatever, you know, I was really close, whatever row I was in, 5 or 3 or whatever, seeing it, it really was, it locked in the mental, like, you know, some people, like you said, if you've never seen it up close, sometimes you just don't get how far behind or maybe how great you actually measure up. So, you know, especially when people are spending thousands and thousands of dollars, like you see people that have like mortgages and kids and all this important stuff. And they're like, I'm going to go to Toronto and do the nationals.
Right.
And it's like, okay, that's great. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money. I'm not going to tell you how to invest your time. And I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. But I, as a bodybuilder, when I was doing that, I make damn sure that if I'm spending thousands of dollars to go to nationals, I'm a threat. Because there's no way I want to waste $4,000 to go to Toronto and get my butt kicked. That would have just sucked. So I didn't go to nationals until I was looking in the mirror going, I could win this. Right. You know, because I was just so hell bent on not wasting any time. And it wasn't an experience for me. It was an absolute goal, right? It wasn't just to see how, like, oh, see how this goes. I was like, so yeah, that's definitely something that changes your perspective, is seeing it up close before you do it.
Oh, yeah.
What else we got, Scotty?
All right, we got a bunch of listener questions. I'm going to jump to those real quick. And then I had another retraction for a little bit later. I'll pull up.
I have a retraction too.
Do you? All right. It might be the same one. Hey, so Dusty, when measuring your foods, do you use raw foods or cooked weights?
I use cooked. I always have.
How about you, Ron?
Yeah, cooked. Because I cook in bulk.
Yep.
Me too.
I get the measure. So I get the measure raw thing, like, but it is not. It's if you're cooking. How do I put this? The people that say, oh, you got to measure your food raw to get real weight, because you might cook your chicken more one day than other days, and then it's you dry it out more, so now it weighs less, so now you can eat more of it. Or you might overcook your potatoes, so now you wind up having more potato because of the way you weigh it, like that sort of thing. But my answer to that is, aren't you a bodybuilder? Aren't you super consistent? Don't you do things exactly the same every day? There's the answer to your question. Just cook your rice exactly the same all the time. And then you just can measure it cooked. Cook your chicken exactly the same all the time. You don't have to worry about it.
Sorry, Dusty, I cut you off asking Ron. What was your thoughts, though?
That's basically this. I mean, that's the same mentality that I see, which is, you know, and to steal something Ron has said a million times, we're worried about that, but then completely off on things that really, really matter, you know, because these are, and again, I'm creating stories, but a guy who's arguing with me about cooked versus uncooked food stays up 3 hours late to watch a movie tonight and then sleeps in. Like, when you, like Ron said, when I was bodybuilding, trying to turn pro, or as I put on, my day was Groundhog Day. Yeah. I went to bed at the same time. I woke up at the same time. Everything was the same. Like, it became a joke with my YouTube videos and stuff for fun. But like, I used to use sugar-free syrup. I didn't weigh it. I put it on the exact same way. Like,
right.
I guarantee you there were a few more grams this day or that day. You know, but it wasn't a huge deal. I didn't measure my sodium from the low sodium soy sauce. I eyed it in about the same every day, and it's fine. I just think that that's one of those things, like, it comes down to, chances are you're somebody who has a life, some way you're paying your bills, and it's just faster to cook your food in bulk. Now I have a luxury of being home more, but I used to cook. I started at 6 days at a time. Then I just realized the food tasted like garbage, and I was eating sawdust by the 4th and 5th day. So then it just became twice a week for the longest time. I had my routine of both of my off days a week were cook days.
Okay.
Every single week. exactly the same, measure it out, simple to go. So it's not perfect, but I just think it's more sensible. And
Yeah.
I can say, as particular as I was about bodybuilding, that difference was not the biggest variance in my career, where I was like, I never looked back at a show and said, if only I had measured that cooked or uncooked first.
Yeah.
I tell you, I've never seen someone in unbelievable condition and thought that it was because they cooked their food raw or measured raw. You know what I mean? Like it's hardly anyone does that. I've met guys that are like, oh no, I cook every rice meal separate.
Yeah. Yeah. I
They're
asked.
like, no, quarter cup dry rice and then set that aside for one meal and then cook another quarter cup and then set that
You can go down a rabbit hole with that too, because if you really think about it, depending on how much water is in your rice after you cook it, it's going to weigh different, or it's going to sit in your measuring cup different. I asked Shelby about that one time, and I was like, Shelby, what do you think about this? He's like, just don't overthink it. Because I had a client who was asking me, like, should I measure it dry? And, because I'm thinking I'm going to mess things up. And Shelby's response was, well, it works for people that I work with at the Olympia level, so it'll probably work for him too. Just you cook the food, you scoop it out, boom, you're done.
Yeah, you got to do is watch an old Jay video. He pulls a tub out of the fridge.
Yep,
scoops some rice out. It's like, okay, problem solved. Jay's doing it. Let's go. Enough said.
Yeah, works for Jay. Yeah. It'll work for us.
Works for Jay. Yeah, it's going to come out as I like to say. It all comes out in the wash.
Yeah,
you know.
All right. So, what was your retraction, Ron?
Oh, I had a laugh because during the Barbarian Brothers episode, I accidentally said Richard Mole, who was Jaws, but it was Richard Keel, of course, which I knew, and Richard Mole was Bull, the bailiff on Night Court. And I was a fan. Both those guys were great. They were both super tall actors. But Richard Keel is a legitimate giant. He's actually passed away now, but he actually had giantism. And I believe Richard Mole, the Bull from Night Court, was just a really tall guy. But yeah, they were both good actors, and I got their names mixed up. And as soon as I did it, I knew. I was like, oh, that was Richard Keel. And then I read that three other guys spotted it.
Oh yeah, there was like 5.
No, that's Richard Keel.
There's like 5 people at this point.
Idiot. Yeah. So I had to. I was like, I got to issue a retraction over this incorrect.
I have
last
to
name.
ask on your retraction, what is the difference between a really tall guy and someone with giantism, as you called it?
Well, Richard Keel is a legitimate giant, so he's got a pituitary gland that's like way too big, and he had like the kind of the features, the big forehead, the sort of different looking structure in the face, true giants. Custom shoes, like size 20 plus. You start to get into like this sort of stuff, right? So yeah, legitimate giantism is like a growth hormone production thing, right? Genetic disorder. So there's a difference. And then some guys are just really tall and they play basketball,
and they're rich. Okay, got it.
Yeah. And then giants also, because of giantism and like massive amounts of GH, usually die pretty young. Yeah, their heart's really overgrown, and that sort of thing. They don't tend to live too long, So
all right, now that we
if they get to rap with the Barbarian Brothers, it makes their life more full.
Yeah, the dude was on TV and everything else.
Big.
Yeah. So
that was so bad.
That was amazing. That's our new theme song. We had a lot of people say that.
We gotta can you lift the audio from that?
Oh, I'm sure we can.
That could become our
filter it out, music. Clean it up.
They have
send it to a producer to like elevate bring the vocals out, make it really good.
I can do that. I can do all of that.
Can do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. We have a producer for that.
But
I know. I just saw it. I'd outsource it, because he's too busy doing other things.
Yeah.
They have like a produced version of that song in the Think Big movie where they're over the road truckers. Right. Yeah. I watched the intro scene. That's about all I got through. It was like 10 minutes long. I'll have to go back and see
my mission for Scott is to find a good audio version of that song, and somehow we have to try to use it without any copyright infringement. Do you think it's a small enough song that no one really owns it?
Nobody will know. Yeah, nobody will know.
This can't actually. Yeah, no one's making money on that song. That's right. Fine.
It's not on Spotify, we're fine.
Yeah. All right. How about this one? So this isn't from our thread. By the way, guys, if we could use some questions for the next episode, so be sure to comment with questions for the next episode on YouTube. Plus all the likes and comments, all that stuff. You guys are doing a freaking great job by helping to boost our shows up. This is not from that, though. This is from our Think Big Facebook group. Matt posted this, and I wanted to bring it to you guys. Everybody in the group was cool. We gave him some good insight, but I wanted to turn to you guys too and get your thoughts. So he says, hey guys, this is my first time posting here. I'm wondering if anyone has tried the carnivore diet and has any tips or results. I'm keen to give it a crack, but I don't know how much. I don't know much about / keen to hear people's results. Since he's using words like keen and give it a crack, I'm going to guess that he's from the UK.
Yes. That goes without saying. So,
what do you think,
Dusty? I have not done that. And simply put, I just never saw the point in starting a diet, even when I was retired, that I couldn't just do. I just, that's always been the most simple thing I learned in bodybuilding is if it's not something you can do long-term with your lifestyle, I don't want to do it. And I haven't seen anything where you've looked at data that says you should do this for sure. You know, I can find data that shows it's good, you know, but there's nothing that's like, I feel like at the end of the day, if something's not proven to be absolutely better for me, I don't want to even shift my life around and make it happen. You know, there's no reason. Like if somebody could prove to me that rice was hindering my health, I will stop eating it. But until then, it's fine. You know what I mean? Right. So that's my terms of reasoning.
I don't slow down for any non-facts. You know what I mean? Like, so that type of thing, like I totally agree. It's the sustainability and ease. Even as a bodybuilder, I always chose the easiest, least stressful way to eat. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, Aceto would say, have some potatoes or some rice. Like, let's do potatoes or rice. And I would just go, which is already in the fridge? Rice. There you go. So there's my answer. Like, I put zero thought into that stuff, right? And so if you said, hey, here's a new diet, but you can't eat any of this or any of this or any of this or any of this, I'm like, what do you mean I can't? I've successfully eaten everything and been in great shape.
Yeah. Right.
Like you should see, I literally ate like quite sizable amounts of crap every single day for the last 10 days. And I still essentially look identical because I managed it with, you know, damage control and activity levels and the odd stretch of no carbs, you know, like, well, I pigged out last night. So I had like no carbs for 3 meals the next day and like, just didn't care. And just managed to hold my weight. It's pretty much the same now. And so that's sort of proof to me that there's no, like, you have to eliminate this entire type of food or anything like that. I think that with my knowledge now, like, you know, it fits your macros. We don't really like to, you know, there's a lot of problems with it when you just let people freestyle their macros completely, you know, and they wind up eating Oreos for their carbs and fats. So there's sometimes stuff like that, but I think that a certain level of experience, I could probably get in great shape with no rules other than macros because I'm so aware of my body and all that.
You've done it for so long.
Done it for so long. So when someone says like, you know, the carnivore diet and eliminate all carbs, I would have to see like hard data that I was going to live longer or something like that. Like,
I think he's just trying to figure out how to get in shape too. I think that's where he's at. It's like, you know, you hear, oh, keto works, so maybe that's my ticket, you know, or carnivore, you know. Yeah,
well, there's some value in maybe trying it with like, I mean, you know, I think sometimes too the mistake with diets like that is people think, okay, I'm a carnivore now, and they literally say like, I'm going to be a carnivore now for the rest of my life, like, and then of course that's
you're
like
in
a lot to take on. You're in a gang, but. I don't see anything wrong with like, I'm going to do this for like 4 weeks and I'm going to see what happens and document things. And maybe I'll change it up or whatever, that's a healthier way to approach it. But sort of going all in on big, huge trends that aren't really backed by tons of real data yet, I think that's a mistake. So
plus just work backwards. And this goes for not just like choosing diets, but in general, there are certain things, for example, like you've said a million times, Ron, and I'm the same way. What kind of digestive problems do you have? I'm like, none, my entire career. What do you mean? Well, if I ate something and I felt off, I just never ate that again.
Yeah.
Like, I had a full serving of broccoli literally in 2009 with a meal, and I got really bloated. And I was like, oh, I don't like broccoli. And then at another point in my career, I did it one more time, bloated again. I go, oh, broccoli doesn't work for me. And that was the end of it. Like,
right.
I don't understand people who it's like they're trying to force broccoli down.
Yeah.
You know, or if they, like, I've had clients and I am with you, Scott. Like, I've done a lot of, the low fat fish in my career. I really saw a difference. And I've had clients go, I don't like fish. I'm like, cool, then we don't eat it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't care.
It's not the only way to do it.
Then we're going to do this other really low fat item called chicken breast.
Yeah.
I mean, protein powders. So just keep those things in mind, because I do feel like anytime you're choosing a diet, I had a conversation last night at the cigar bar during, a guy was asking me about, he's lost like 80 pounds.
Okay.
And he's now reached a point where it's not just losing weight anymore. He wants to have some muscle, and he's been doing intermittent fasting as a way to, so he wasn't measuring any of his food. He's just like, you're really not going to screw up in 2 meals since he's been fasting all this time. So he can kind of eat whatever, but now he wants more performance. He wants this and that. And he said to me, he goes, okay, so my understanding is the protein's high, carbs are low, and fats are moderate.
Yeah. Yeah.
He screamed.
I was a loud one. But, so the factor is just that they're, and I said, no, that's not necessarily the case. Oh, so carbs should be high and fat. I'm like, no. Doesn't matter. I agree with the protein side because you want to maintain or build muscle mass. The other 2 things, I just want you to do math. What's easier for your life? What feels better? I like to look at a plate of food when I'm dieting, which means greens and rice filling my plate makes me happy. I do not want to have a tablespoon of oil, but mathematically it's fine. So if you really just don't like to eat very much, you want to eat that and have a scoop of oil and call it a day, great, we're fine. Yeah. So just factor those things in too, because I really do think when someone says, I'm going to try the carnivore diet, again, give it a roll, but make sure it's functional. I did the same thing with red meat. I like red meat. And I said, I want to see what happens if I just eat red meat. Always. Like, I have egg whites and stuff, but as far as my meats, and I just did my blood work every 4 weeks for a while just to see what would happen. And I was like, oh, nothing happened and I like it better. Cool, I'm going to do that.
All right.
Right.
That was the science behind the whole thing. I was like, I don't know what will happen. So I'm just going to test. And as long as my blood work says that I'm fine, then I'm fine. And it was. And I've had a blood work, another panel done 6 months later. And I literally rarely eat anything white meat anymore. I just don't really love it. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're healthy. So that's cool. It's just more expensive, but that's fine.
I want to touch on something that might be slightly off the topic, but it's more of a general thing. Dusty mentioned it. I remember Bill Burr did a bit on joining a group. Who joins a group? Right? You remember that bit he did? Just going off. I love him, people. Yeah, and
yelling at me.
And yelling at me. Join a group. I gotta join a group. I need to talk to people that are just like me. Like, he had this real cynical take on joining groups. But I think that it made me laugh because we do see, especially with social media, a lot of people. I mean, there's a bit of a problem with the newer generation, always wanting to identify with a group. And always wanting to be part of a group. It's kind of a cultural thing. I have always tried to not be in a group. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't mean, getting a newsletter or something, but I just, people, like, when people say, what are you? I'm like, I'm a guy that has a lot of interests and I do these things. Whereas other people, you say, what are you? And they can give you a definition immediately.
Bodybuilder.
Yeah. That's a big one. I'm bodybuilder. Or
it's not just
whatever.
like this new generation though. I think it's all everybody, you know, when you're younger, we're all looking for our sense of identity.
Yeah.
You know, I think what it comes down to.
I think we just see that it's been a bit magnified by social media because everyone wants like a group. They, you know, even put it in their little bio, the groups they're a member of, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that is something that, you know, it's wired into us, right? It's like has to do with evolution and all that stuff. But I think we see it in the fitness world a lot. People jumping from trend to trend. Okay, now I'm this. Hashtag trend to trend. Yeah. Trend to trend.
That's all I heard.
Trend to trend.
Ashes,
wait,
trend
what's happening?
It's a new pre-workout prayer we're coming up with. But you know, when you follow the trends, people do tend to get a lot. Oh, sorry. I was talking about getting huge. When you follow the trends, you know, I think it's, you know, be careful joining these groups when it comes to nutrition and diet. And, you know, our old friend Lane would use the word zealots.
Yeah.
You know, watch out for the zealots.
Well, because what you end up with in a lot of those is these absolute statements like this is the right diet.
Yeah.
This is the right thing. It was the same for me with Harleys. Like I didn't have bikes for a long time again. Then I started bought a couple Harleys. I don't own a single Harley t-shirt. I do not think there's anything wrong with your Kawasaki, your Indian, whatever that. I don't give a I don't even care if they're like motorcycles. It doesn't matter. Like, and you know, people, why'd you get Harley? I just like them. Why? I like them. Well, this is better. Cool. Like it does not matter, but it's important because a lot of times, I mean, my dad was the stereotypical, I mean, every black Harley shirt I'd ever seen in the history of the world was in his closet. And I was like, so you're a Harley guy. I am not.
Right.
I have a couple of them, you know, and you know, but that's it. So I agree with you, Ron, especially with things like nutrition, because you find yourself picking sides you don't even have to pick.
Yeah. I was some advice that I heard a while ago, and it related to social media, was be careful what bandwagons you jump on, because you don't want to have to go back and delete embarrassing videos of yourself ranting.
Do you remember? I don't know if it was. I don't know if. Oh, it was. I think we might have just been talking to him. It might have been you and I just talking to Rob Bailey, if you remember this, Ron. But one of us asked him if he was still a vegan, and he said no, but I don't eat meat. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, I don't want to identify with them because it's become a cult. He's like, I eat within what they say, but I am not a vegan. I do not talk about it.
He wears leather boots, right? Yeah. A true, like there's these, because I remember he told me once that there's like a purist type of vegan that will like attack you for saying you're vegan because you're not. Well, you have leather boots on.
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah.
You have a leather belt. Your car has leather seats. Like there's real purists out there, right? And people see that extreme end. Maybe they get into something. Maybe they get into the carnivore diet or they get into the vegan diet, and they think, oh, this is great. And then they realize like, oh, there's like a deep end to this group
cult.
And I don't want to be in that group. Yeah. So it's
I thought that was a prime example because he's like, I still live my lifestyle the way I set out, but I will not use that word to describe myself or how I eat, I should say, to describe how I eat. Yeah.
Like I was saying, I think this guy maybe he's newer to trying to get into shape. And my thought is that what I'll do with people, and I'm absolutely positive you guys will do the same thing, is say you have somebody that comes to you and they're not following any kind of diet right now. If you just put them on clean foods, the chicken and rice diet, use clean foods, they're probably going to start losing fat. And they might even say, oh my God, I can't believe I'm eating this much and the scale's dropping. So I would start there. And eventually there are those people that you say you remove the carbs, and then maybe to get really lean, you end up removing some fats. Maybe you're on protein only. Maybe you have gone carnivore, you know what I mean, at that point. Right. And by then it makes sense for a period of time. But I bet that if he's not on a fixed diet yet, if he just cleans things up, all clean sources, get on a fixed meal plan, that he'd do all right. You know, he would start making progress. And that'd be my thought, to do that first.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely farm grade sources. Oh, wait.
Pharma?
With a PH?
With a PH. Oh, wait. You said
We're all
clean.
about the farms and the pharma.
All right. We got a couple more from Patreon. So let's just try to make sure we get through these.
He just told us to hurry up.
Yes, we're low on time.
You're
but we
rambling.
We want to make sure we cover these. So King Kamali posted about shock days today. Once a month, you take one exercise for one muscle and you do 500 reps for that one exercise and however many sets it takes. He called it shock days, to shock the muscle into new growth. Thoughts on something like this? From Kyle.
Yeah, so there's I got like two takes on this. One is that I think things that make training fun and exciting and maybe someone's super motivated to do them, I have to like make sure that I give credit to the value of that. Because I remember being a young bodybuilder and reading about the 8-hour arm workout in Muscle Mag. Later became Rich Piana's because he took it from Muscle Mag, right? But I remember reading about the 8-hour arm workout and we were so excited to do it. And we did it. We did the 8-hour arm workout. We packed all our shakes and we went to the gym at 9 a.m. and we trained all day long. We did an 8-hour arm workout and we measured our arms the next day and they were bigger because they were like inflamed.
Yeah.
So we measure and they're like literally like over a 1/4 inch bigger. And you're like, oh man, my arms grew, right? I just remember all the excitement. And I'm not going to say that that wasn't valuable or fun. And then there's also some interesting studies and some evidence about like undulating your volume, you know, like say you have a weak body part, like you're trying to bring your quads up. And a lot of people think in terms of like the whole year. They're like, well, you know, 20 sets of quads, I'm not gonna be able to recover from 20 sets of quads. Okay, well, maybe you can't recover from 20 sets of quads all year. But maybe like you can. Week, yeah. Maybe you can hit 20 sets of quads a week for like 5 weeks and then back off. And if you back off your other volume to make room for all this quad volume, maybe you will see a growth spurt in your quads. And there's been I've seen some cool stuff that this might be a cool way to deal with weak body parts, is really target them. You know, we give them their own day. We give them a few extra sets. Maybe we really prioritize our splits for our weak body parts. This might be an interesting way to do things, and I'm open to it. So I say there might be value in like shock type of things, but I don't think one single workout is going to magically make everything, you know, more balanced. But I'm not going to completely discount it. You know, there's fun and motivation and training hard. And, you know, like I said, sometimes we do crazy stuff just to make our minds harder, and there's a value there, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I think the shtick for me and why my answer is way shorter than Ron's is just no, is because
no, shut up, Ron.
I just read because all I just read exactly what he said, and if I read exactly what he said, then the answer is no.
Right there, you go. Okay, next question. Dusty's smart.
When you expand it, you know, far enough, obviously, any shock will, like I do push clients all the time. They say, hey, I'm out of town. Say they're on a very specific training program. I'm like, pick every piece of equipment in that gym you don't have and just replace a press for a press, this for a that. And I promise you, if you train as hard as you always do, you are going to be wrecked tomorrow.
So sore.
Oh, and it's going to be fun. Yeah. And you nailed that. And I agree 1,000,000% with that. It's just, I wish it were that easy to create new growth the way he sold it, because I would have been a monster. Because when I was a kid, I was like you, Ron, what else can we do? Mm-hmm. You know, like if somebody told me, okay, if you just at the beginning of every workout do 10 sets of biceps, I'd be like, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I want my biceps to be bigger.
Half an hour early every day.
Done. Yeah. 10 sets every single day. Got it. Biceps. You know, so I just like to make sure people understand those absolutes are always funny to me in bodybuilding. But yes, doing anything different is going to be, is going to change things. If you ever want to, if you're bored with your training routine, I challenge you to walk in the gym, whatever body part it is, and do your usual workout backwards. It'll be weird.
That's I love that. That's great. I forgot about that. I used to do that too. Like
It's just a fun thing to do. And all of a sudden when you're going to most of us I am definitely the guy who wants to do my heavy stuff first. You want to humble yourself, do your entire workout and then go do your deadlifts when you're completely annihilated.
Right.
It's game changing and you are sore the next day. I'm not saying you're going to do it all the time, but it is fun. And I've done that on days where I was kind of like, I'm healthy to train, but I can tell I'm just not 100% there. Rather than have a crappy workout chasing my logbook that's not going to win, I'm just going to do it backwards. And it's going to be brutally hard and I won't know if I left any reps, like if I was stronger the time before, so that's fun.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So Brian has one. He says, any guidance or how you or bodybuilders deal with training with ongoing back or sciatica issues?
I've had sciatica before, and it really sucks because it makes even like chest supported rows will hurt because everything you're tensing your core and you're tensing your hips and everything to stabilize. So it's really hard to get away from. You can't just not do barbell rows. And even doing your pull downs and stuff, you feel like every time you come down and you contract, you feel like the shoots down your leg or whatever. I've had like bad sciatica that was really interruptive of my training, and it usually had to do with hip flexor issues. Yep. Glute tightness, IT band, all that. It's just like something's a mess down your leg, and usually IT or quad. It's usually not what you think. Most people with sciatic issues are like, "Oh, something wrong with my glute and hamstring."
Yep, that was me.
It's like, no, it might be your quad. It might be your calf pulling on your quad, which pulling on your IT band, pulling on your glute. Blah 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 blah. So there's something he's really got to get worked out, but it sucks, man, because it can really interrupt a lot of stuff. You think you can train around, what appears to be a lower back issue, but it can hurt doing all sorts of stuff. It's a real pain in the ass.
I mean, I wish somebody told me that stuff in years ago, because I had gone as far as to had seen an orthopedic surgeon to look at my back and get an MRI and got cortisone shots like lined up in the SI joint, all that kind of stuff. And later I realized that my glutes were too weak. So if I were to strengthen my glutes up, and then I think you nailed something with hip flexors. I can't speak for it. We don't know what his situation is, but those two things, nobody ever said like, hey, you got an imbalance here. Your glutes are too weak. Nobody ever said, hey, have you tried stretching your hip flexors? Like nobody said that. They're like, yeah, we'll look at your spine and see if we need to do surgery.
Yeah.
It's like, why not have started there? And now if any of that, like after I strengthened my glutes, and I've told that story here before, it changed everything. And my ability to stabilize like bent over row type movements got so much better with stronger glutes and being able to activate them. And now like I started getting a little bit of back pain this past week, and instantly I knew, I'm like, oh, I got to stretch my hip flexors. I did that for a day and guess what? It's gone,
Yeah. It's what I do in the morning. I get up every morning and my lower back is tight and hurts. And I stretch out my hip flexors because I've been having that hip issue. And I stretch out, especially my right hip. I get up in the morning, my back is tight. Like, it feels like I can't even bend over to touch my toes. But I'll hook my foot and I'll stretch it out and lean back into it and get things moving, put the gun on it, get things going through the glute.
Yeah.
And then like literally 5 minutes later, I'm walking around the house like normal. And Emily will be like, oh, you woke up like walking like a zombie. Then 5 minutes later, you're just like walking around the house doing everything. And it's just how I just need to release it. It's so tight every morning.
Yeah, I was going to say just to help the guy, if you can reach out to anyone locally that knows a great physical therapist. And I say that because PTs are like personal trainers or like hairstylists. Like there's a million of them out there. But if you can find someone that is great, they will probably, I mean, my guy, when I kept pulling my adductor, totally different injury, but I kept having an issue. I reached out, found a guy to go see, Jason, who I literally saw every single week from the day I saw him for this first thing. It took him 5 minutes. worked my body around. He goes, "You have poor ankle mobility in your right ankle." I was like, "Cool." Anyways, my adductor's messed up, dumbass. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fix your ankle," and then it was gone.
Right. Yeah.
Now there are some things where they're going to say, "Here's the issue, and it's going to take time, and let me tell you what you can do." But right now, you're trying to train around an issue, and all you got to do is have someone, like you said, Scott, someone to tell you what's actually wrong. Which a good PT can literally, they'll put you through motions, do different strength tests on different things. And this is why anybody who's ever followed my Q&A very long, a question comes up on something like this, and I go, call a good PT. If you're in Arizona, go see Jason. He will solve your problem. Right. You are way out of my depth. I couldn't even remotely cover this, even if I could physically see you, because I don't know what he's testing. But there are ways for them to actually break down exactly where the weakness is in a session if they're good, and then tell you how to fix it. And then your whole life has changed. Because like, look at you, Scott. I mean, you completely changed an issue that was like damning for the longest time. Yeah. And now you even know enough about your body to make adjustments on the fly. Now we're like, oh, no, this isn't my back.
It was crippling before, to the point where like, oh man, I threw it out. Now I know the next 2 to 5 weeks is going to be shit. Every back day, every leg day. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's brutal. Yeah, that makes me quit.
Yeah. All right. I got one more from Nick. He is at Patreon as well. Now he's posted this question a bunch of times. He's looking, get ready to make I'm gonna warn you guys. I need you to make a funny answer. He wants a funny answer for this one. All right.
Oh boy. No.
So you got to think funny. He says, I've got 2 questions that were missed in previous threads. Fun question for Ron and Dusty. Who picks sets and reps? Specifically, how many reps to do? Everyone has heard of 5x5, 3x10, 3x8, or 12, etc. But I have never seen a 7x9. It's always the same sets and reps. Where did these come from and why? If you don't know, feel free to make up a good story for the show. I feel like Ron could bullshit something very believably. Maybe it will be the new truth.
I think you're going to make a new truth.
There. It just needed the
Ron's
right setup.
going to create a new truth.
I've been holding this one, Ron, for you for like, poor Nick. He's posted this like 5 times, and I've pulled it multiple times. It just never was the right moment. So now you're on. Be funny and go.
Yeah, don't mess this up, Ron.
I think that we've seen. Remember when Hani came out with FST 7?
Yes.
And he added the 7 sets of 15 at the end of every workout with a specific exercise. It was like for the weak area of that body part or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was a FST 7. And of course, because this was an odd number, it wasn't a 3 or a 4 or a 5, right? It was an unusual number. He was able to get a patent from the U.S. government.
Did he really get a patent on that?
Yeah. So anyone else who does 7 sets, even if you just do it in your home gym, even if you did 7 sets, you now technically owe Hani money.
I technically literally just set somebody up on an FST 7 for their biceps because it does work for a short period of time.
So pretty soon, Hani's AI will be combing the internet for your programs, and you will be sent letters of cease and desist to make sure that you don't violate his patent. So I think that it's because it's just like a song. If a song's older than 50 years, it's public use, right?
Right.
So if a song's 50 years old, you don't have to, ask permission to use it anymore. I believe 50 is the rule. Is that what it is, Scott? Is 50 the cutoff?
I thought it was 100, but maybe
is it 100? Right. Well, there's a cutoff. So the 3 sets, the 4 sets, the 5 sets, these are all old enough that they're now in the public domain and we can all use them without paying a fee to anyone. We don't owe Arnold money if we do 5 sets of 5, right?
Right.
Whereas if you do 7 sets of something, you're going to owe Hani some money.
It's 70.
I'm just saying. 70 years for music.
There you go. Idiots.
There you go. I think it's the same here. It's there's a time where it becomes public domain, and 7 sets of 9 is not public domain yet. Someone owns the patent to that.
This reminds me. Do you remember? God, I hope I'm getting the right movie, but I think it was There's Something About Mary. I'm not certain, but the guy was like, He goes, I'm coming up with an idea. He goes, you know the 8-minute abs? And then he's like, yeah. He goes, same idea, but 7-minute abs. And he goes, that works out great unless someone comes out with 6-minute abs. He's like, 6 will never work. It's not enough time.
Not enough time.
I remember hearing that.
I don't know if that's the right movie, so someone is going to crucify me for being wrong.
No, but, it's funny. I remember the scene, but I don't remember exactly what movie it was. You know,
yeah,
me too.
But that's what it reminds me of, because that's what all these are, and it is correct. I think what's great about this question is that's what bodybuilding is. It's like the 6 meals. You wouldn't believe how many clients I've had go, is there any way we could do this in 5? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, really? And I was like, yeah, there's nothing magic about 6. Like, that's just how we formulate. And actually, I only eat 5 meals now because I don't want to eat 6 times. So I just eat 5 times. And
I have 4.
Now that my appetite's kicking up, I'm like, I'll just add a couple ounces of meat to each meal and stick with 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a very valid question. But now, Ron, we have danced around it. Sell us on why we've been doing it wrong all this time and what we need to do.
Oh, well, I mean, you're not necessarily doing it wrong. You're doing what you're legally allowed to do, Dusty.
There it is. A legality.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to be careful. You don't violate these trademark and copyright infringements when you're working out, even if no one knows. You know, it's you have to tread lightly. You don't want to accidentally do 7 sets of something. You're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm going to just start writing the word ish at the end of every client's thing.
7-ish.
7-ish.
Sets.
Yeah.
7 or so. Right?
You know.
Or so is always good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do some sets more than 5, less than 8.
Yeah.
And same with reps, though. You do have to. It is funny, though, that we'll be like, because I do write the same rep ranges. It's like 8 to 10, 12 to 15. It's like, these aren't even odd or even numbers necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I getting like a delay? I felt like I was moving slow. It was weird.
You're
good.
But anyways, that was a great question. I can't believe you held it for that long. I thought that was fun.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
That was fun.
We just needed to set it up right.
Yeah.
We had the right time, the right moment, the right day, and it worked. I applaud you guys. You guys, I had to tell you guys too, like, listen, I want to prove your professionalism to our audience. I was like, guys, you got to be funny and go. And they did it. So there's that.
Was my answer believable?
Just good. It was solid. I like it.
I believe you.
I mean, I'm afraid to do 7 sets, put it that way. After this, I'll be looking over my shoulder in the gym if I'm going to do 7 sets.
I'm going to send Honey an Instagram message and ask if it's okay if I do 7 sets of anything.
I don't even know if we're allowed to say the word 7 anymore.
Right.
You could screen cap that though, Ron, and have that on your phone, you know, in case one of his lawyers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I have permission. I got to ask you guys, is that it for questions?
That's it. That's all we got.
So we got to, you know, I know we're getting to the end of the show here. Maybe it's only the last 5-minute crew still watching, but maybe it's only the last 5-minute crew that deserve this conversation.
Okay.
Oh boy.
What did you guys do for New Year's?
Oh, I already know what Scott did.
What did
Let's
I do?
See if I'm right. Let's see if I'm right. Scott walked his dogs at night, and then he came home, and then he went to bed before midnight.
Close.
He fired guns. There's got to be guns.
No shooting.
No guns.
No, because because the range and they were. I don't even know if they were open, but we were busy.
No, but you're American, right?
He doesn't live where I live. Though. If he lived where I live, you could just shoot your backyard.
Fire in the air. You're in
Yeah,
Detroit.
yeah.
In the air.
All the firecrackers going off. No one's going to notice it.
No,
noise.
couple
Just the guy that gets hit.
boom, couple of pumps of the old 12 gauge.
A
Yeah.
bird shot in the air, maybe off. Yeah, you don't need to worry about. Yeah.
So
Don't disappoint me. I want you guys telling me lavish stories of Americanism.
we finished work. I finished work early-ish. So by 7 p.m. we were settled in, and we watched a couple of our TV shows, which there's a TV show I want to tell you guys about. And we had we purchased a bar of chocolate. So we split the bar of chocolate.
The show right now.
And we split an apple. And we went to bed by like 9:30, something like that. That was our night.
Split one apple.
Yeah, we get these big cosmic crisps. And since we had this, because I told you guys this before, and you guys had said that was like a peasant's meal. That's what I think Ron said, like the whole family, because the dogs like the apple too, so we have to give pieces of the apple to the dogs.
You share one apple amongst 4.
Talk to my wife. You got to talk to my wife on this one.
Is there a shortage of apples?
She doesn't want a whole apple. Okay,
she's saving for retirement, big time.
I'm gonna need y'all to bump up the money that you're going into this.
You're gonna die with like $8 million in the bank.
Well, the thing is, with those apples nowadays, at the cost of apples, I mean, they're like, it's expensive. You know what I'm saying?
It's a $7 apple.
Right. Cosmic Crisp, by the way. Cosmic Crisp is nailing it this year.
That sounds like it's a juiced up apple.
But it is. They're like, they're on something. They're huge.
There's some Increlex going into that apple.
The TV show.
Yes,
so you guys remember the movie Fargo, right?
Yes.
So the TV show, each season is different. It's a different scenario. Yes. I watched season 1 back in the day when it came out, loved it. Season 2, like I didn't really get into it and I trailed off and didn't watch it. The latest season, I want to say it's season 5 or season 6, whatever the latest season is, you don't need to have watched anything previously, but I strongly encourage you to watch the latest season of Fargo. Give it a minute and it's just so well done. There's like some action in there. There's some humor, and just there's a little bit of artsiness to it. It's just a really well done show. So I strongly encourage you guys to watch Fargo.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
okay. What's Dusty watching in the new year?
So I watch television while I do cardio, and Scott's like really close. He's really wants to know what I'm watching.
I showed Dusty some stuff in the office, and I didn't fix my camera properly after that. Yeah.
So no, but the reason I'm telling this whole story that doesn't matter is because the value of the television isn't as high. I just need something to watch while I'm doing cardio. So I've been watching Jack Ryan, which is good, but I'm not telling everyone.
Krasinski's in that, right?
Yeah, and it's very good, but it's not on the level where you like tell people to go watch it.
Okay. Right, you're enjoying it, but you don't want to be responsible for other people.
Yeah, so definitely if you're a cardio walker that just watches, and you'll love this, Ron, you'll get a kick out of this. So I just decided to do 30 minutes of cardio 5-6 days a week, just walking. Well, then I ran into the issue that I would be done with my cardio before an episode ended. Then I would start a new episode, or finish that episode tomorrow, then have to start a new one during it, and it wouldn't allow me to skip the intro. So I'd have to while walking, carefully drag it and change. So now I do 42 minutes of cardio because I just watch a full episode. So that was how I determined it's time to do more cardio. Yes. But it is actually really good. And I've knocked through, I'm going to finish the 4th season this month just because I watch an episode 5-6 days a week,
Nice.
But very good. So, but it's like it's your easy. I always joke that there are movies and there are films. So if I say to somebody, this is a good movie.
Yeah.
We're not talking about something that's going to compare to, old classics or anything like that. It's just a good movie. It's entertainment. You're good.
Right.
But
okay.
I do come out in the morning and tell Nikki what's going on in my world, though, because I like to go in. I'm like, there's a lot going on right now between Russia and us, and I'm just not sure how it's going to go. And I found out some bad stuff. And she's like, why do you do this to me every day? So yes, that's what I'm watching.
Going down.
Yeah, very real.
It could be really fictionally important.
Yeah. I like that I bought into him though because of he is actually great at the role, which excites me.
Yeah, you remember who played Jack Ryan? Remember who's played Jack Ryan already?
No,
in the movies, all the Clancy movies where Jack Ryan is the main character.
No.
Remember the Hunt for Red October? Alec Baldwin was Jack Ryan.
Oh, okay.
And then in Patriot Games, it was Harrison Ford was Jack Ryan. And what was the third movie? It had a longer title. Harrison Ford did another one where he was Jack Ryan. Damn.
I know none of this.
Harrison Ford, Jack Ryan. Easy. Oh yeah, right here. Boop boop. There was Clear and Present Danger. Yes, that was another one. And then Ben Affleck was Jack Ryan in The Sum of All Fears. And And then what's the guy's name?
I didn't even know all this connection existed, Scott.
Shadow Recruit.
I didn't either.
Shadow Recruit. I can't remember his name.
And I've seen these movies,
name at the top,
but they're so
the guy
old.
At the top.
Yeah.
Chris.
I never saw
Chris
that movie,
Pine. Is
though.
that Chris Pine?
I think you might be right, but you'll get in trouble
Yeah.
for saying that if you're wrong. So it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been like a string of great actors that have played Jack Ryan. He's a good character. You know, he's a Tom Clancy's sort of answer to James Bond in a lot of ways, you know, and
it's a great, but seeing him do it. And I actually, did you ever hear the story about his success, like getting the part of The Office?
Krasinski. I don't know how he got the part in The Office. No.
All right. So it's not about how he got the part, but this is interesting. So I'll make it quick, but it was a little clip I saw, and he was talking about how he moved to go to becoming an actor, and his mother told him,
LA, you mean?
Yeah, his mother, I don't know if he went to LA or New York, but anyways, his mother told him, she said, listen, all I ask is that you like get yourself out of this. Like, I'm not going to pull you out of being an actor because you're a loser, essentially. So he's working tables, doing all this stuff, and just not really getting anything. So he reaches out to his mom in like September, and he's like, hey, I'm done. You know, this is not working. And, you know, I'm just not really getting anything. And basically I want to come home. And for whatever reason, his mom's like, you know, there's not really a lot going on right now. Why don't you just hang out till the end of the year and then come home? And 2 weeks later, he got The Office.
Dang.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's like he's telling that story. It's one of those words I like played it again. I'm like, did I hear that right? And it was literally, I don't know exactly, but it was under a month from when his mom was like, let's hold out. And that's a scenario where, I mean, let's be honest, anybody who either has friends or kids, you see them like dragging their feet long enough to be an actor. You're kind of like, yeah, it's probably time to get a job. So she just had a vibe. She's like, let's just hold out. Like, you're not going to go become a great whatever the hell else you're going to do right now anyways. So just wait. And now look at him, you know, it's wild to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I love those stories. And, you know, it's like that old saying, like, what's that old saying about, you know, if you quit today, you'll never see what tomorrow brings, you know, like the losers are just the ones who quit.
Right.
Like, you know, sticking with it. Like, you just got to stick in there. Like every great success story, or many great success stories are often just stories of stubbornness and refusal to admit reality.
I don't like to call myself a success story, but yes, that is how I turned pro.
I just sort of lived in denial generally for most of my life, and it all came together.
Yeah, eventually it just worked out.
Yeah. How did you make it? You know, man, the overnight success of 20 years of waiting tables.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. How about you, Ron? What'd you do for New Year's?
New Year's we actually went over to George's house.
Oh, nice.
George and Christina had Emily and I over for dinner because we don't like to do anything on New Year's Eve because we don't want to leave our dog home alone because the fireworks are crazy in town here. And even though we can barely hear them, we're up in the tower really high and he seems to be able to hear all the fireworks. And
of course,
so we normally stay home on Halloween night, New Year's Eve, any night where there's fireworks. And we stay home and just watch movies, and just try to keep the volume on the TV up. And then Jedi's all calm and relax and our dog's good, But George and Christina invited us over for dinner. So we went over there when we took the dog and the dogs, did their thing. And we played cards and had a big steak meal. Dusty would have loved it. And it was a good time.
Did you notice, Dusty? He said the nights that there are a lot of fireworks, like New Year's Eve or Halloween.
Yeah, I caught that.
Yeah, I've learned this. So in Canada, you guys do fireworks on Halloween, huh?
Yeah. Well, I don't know about us guys. I just know about the degenerates in my neighborhood.
Yeah,
fireworks off on Halloween for some strange reason.
Yeah,
you look out the window and you're like,
you caught that.
It's popping off. You're like, what's going on? What's the Halloween
I
celebration?
derail the conversation all the time, so I was going to leave that one because I'm like, dude, I'm so annoying.
Victoria was the one who told me because she has these. They're like these calm cookies that we give to her little dog, and she said this Halloween or maybe the past Halloween, she's like, oh, we should give Maddie some calm cookies before it gets dark. And I was like, why? And she's like, well, because of the fireworks. I was like, it's Halloween. We just wear masks and knock on doors. That's all we do here. We don't do any fireworks.
Yeah, but it's Detroit. That's sort of every night.
Yeah. We just wear masks and
Just rob
run
banks.
around in the dark. Yeah.
Just be home invasions.
Yeah. That's an average night.
Well,
That's
I
interesting.
think it's Canadians like to set off fireworks on Halloween because we don't have real freedom. So we like to do simulated freedom, and I call it an American imitation fetish sort of thing. There's little moments where we like to pretend we're free, and they're probably setting the fireworks off secretly, kind of singing the Star Spangled Banner in their head without realizing it.
Now just imagine these were guns.
Yeah. Probably, I'm sure Trudeau hates them. I'm sure he dislikes fireworks. I can't imagine that guy's a fan of anything fun. So there's probably, more and more firework use as the feeling of, sort of depressing drain captures Canadians.
Right.
We envy you guys.
He'll be gone.
I don't know if he's ever leaving. I think he's the type of guy that could have 1% approval, and he'd just be like, everything's fine.
Everything's good here.
Everything's fine.
Yeah. He's definitely proven that.
Yeah.
Him and Gavin are homies.
Me and Gavin are homies. Hey, okay. Is that a show? Do we have a show? Can we put that out?
Yeah, I guess
It
we
won't
don't
be
have a
good, but
choice.
we can put it out.
We don't have a choice.
I'm sort of stuck now with this being consistent thing. I also have to say, I know you guys want to go, and I'm Scott's probably messaging me, move on. But I have to say, I'm very happy with the response to the show from everyone that's been commenting lately and messaging. And you got a great message from someone the other day, Scott, that you shared with us that was like really, people saying this show helps them through so many tough times. And we just want to make sure that especially our last 5 minute crew really know that hearing that stuff is really great. It, because there's lots of times, like I know Dusty and we both have, this sort of like, what the hell am I doing here sort of feeling half the time whenever I'm talking about anything. And it's nice to know that, people are looking forward to the show and it's an important part of their week. They got to get through cardio or the commute or, their significant other yapping at them. And
you know how they are.
It's nice to know that they have a place to go.
Hey, on that note, I did have a comment that I wanted to share with you guys. And this is from Billy Ryan. He had said, I want to thank you all for talking about the breakup. If you guys remember, we talked about dealing with breakups a few episodes ago. He says, I'm not sure if it was my story, but I did post it on the Think Big Bodybuilding page. I think he means the Facebook group. Since I've been there for years and since he's been there for years and disappeared at the group, he means. But we were married for 6 years, together for 7. I was incredibly crushed. I'm doing so much better now, and I can't thank you guys enough. If it weren't for you guys and others like you, who I can honestly say that I wouldn't be here today. So, I mean, it's cool to know that we can help people get through difficult times like that. And yeah, we have gotten a bunch of really good messages. It touches me, man, to know that we can. Yeah. The other guy who I shared the message with you guys, he was saying that like through all of his cardio, he got through like some of those brutal cardio sessions listening to our shows, And that's what I've always wanted, is to be that thing that they can go to, because you get through those times, those incredible feats in a contest prep. You come out the other side and you realize, like, wow, I'm different because of this. And we were we were there. We were part of that for them. So I love knowing that.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Also, too, the feedback on the DJ episode. Everyone loved Dennis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
I had 2 people say that it was our best. They thought it was our best interview ever.
No kidding.
And
wow.
I was like, oh, I mean, we've had some very great guests on that gave really good interviews, but I think they just really loved his Ronnie story and the kind of the old, like we kind of got him talking about the kind of the peak days of his career as opposed to like, more current events or whatever. We had a real good sort of old school interview with him. And I was really happy that people had a great time listening.
He
to
had
that
fun
one.
too. You could tell he had fun, and that's the best part,
Yeah. So anyways, much appreciated. So 2024, big things coming, lots of goals. Maybe next episode we'll talk about our plans for 2024 and what we are lining up I know we've got a lot going on. We're going to see each other a few times this year too, by the looks of it.
Yes.
So, yeah. And we're going to see some of you guys this year. We're going to see a lot of you guys this year. So make sure you come and say hi at all the expos and booths and show us your t-shirts.
Yes.
You're going to be wearing your t-shirts this time. So, okay, guys, is that it? That's our first episode of the new year.
Yes, sir.
1124. That's the date of this one. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Remember, IamMutant.com. Go to IamMutant, get your IsoSurge, get your all in. And you should all, by this point in time, you should all be on the gear. Yes. I don't know how much longer we have to harp at you about getting on the gear, but I don't understand how you could watch this show and have any sense and not be on copious amounts of gear.
The gear.
Or, excuse me.
Get the gear in your system. It's available. IamMutant.com. Use Dusty20, Big Ron 20, and remember the Think Big Patreon. Keep a producer homed.
Thank you,
the
guys.
Price of a cup of coffee,
or an apple.
Yeah, or an apple. The price of a cosmic apple. Was it cosmic apple?
Cosmic Crisp. I highly suggest them. They're real good.
Whatever neighborhood you live in, Google Cosmic Crisp, whatever that's worth, donate that to the Think Big Patreon once a month. Set up a subscription. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And remember, it's just bodybuilding.
That was my favorite one.
What, the very last line you mean?
Yes, that was my favorite delivery of it. It was just the facials. It was flawless.
Okay. I'm glad you like it.